Liverpool Reaction, an American LFC podcast, starts now. Welcome back, everybody. Liverpool Reaction, an American LFC podcast. Joined by my co-host, Coach Ralph. My lord, Coach.
Well, the Newcastle-Liverpool game has a long history of drama, and that was another one for the books.
What a game. I mean, there was so many things that happened in this game, and there's a lot to talk about, but first and foremost, I mean, the 16-year-old Rio comes on. Nice passage of play from Liverpool. Beautiful dummy from Szoboszlai. And the kid just put it away to win the game. I mean, yeah, the storylines throughout this whole game and between these two clubs with the Isak thing going on, it was a tense but well-fought game by both teams.
Yeah, the winning goal, we have a saying in England, and it pertains to a comic book hero, Roy of the Rovers, and it's just kind of fantasy comic book stuff for the young lad to come on. And actually, I didn't know, but he beat Wayne Rooney's record by a day. And let's just say he fairly stuck it home. I mean, it was a great finish. Very, very, very clever play by Szoboszlai, who I thought was outstanding game.
Man of the match, no doubt about it.
Yeah, he was outstanding. But other than that, I would give tremendous credit to Newcastle.
Yeah.
I mean, first of all, Anthony Gordon, silly boy to do what he did. I mean, it was as soon as you saw it back, it was a red card. And
yeah,
I mean, there've been a few games in recent seasons where maybe players should have been sent off against Liverpool, but look, I was concerned he wouldn't give it. I mean, but that was a red card. So credit to Newcastle. I mean, like their fans were fantastic. I mean, Eddie Howe got it right in the second half. They just went very direct, put the Reds under pressure. Like they got a goal back, which okay, you can pick up on Kirkesh, but credit to Bruno Guimaraes because he went in and he finished. And then the crowd were really behind them at that point. Now, I would question the manager, Arne Slot, over Newcastle's second goal, because there's a couple of minutes left in the game. Why play a high line for a free kick? You're inviting the space for the opponents to attack, and the ball went right into that space. And they got on the end of it, and they equalized. So I would give the player credit for doing that because he was brave. But the point is this: 88th minute of the game, you kill the space. I mean, they are not going to be able to exploit the space by playing the same ball because Liverpool's back four will just map it up. And yeah, I would really question the tactics there. Because clearly Liverpool have had problems with defending. I thought they did extremely well in the first half because the game was as I anticipated. It was physical, the crowd was feisty, and I thought that Liverpool did well with their defensive play in the first half. But the second goal, I would seriously question the tactics there. And again, even after the winning goal, again, Newcastle got a free kick, and Alisson is well off his line before the ball's even kicked. Now, we play Arsenal at the weekend. Arsenal scored a goal like that at Anfield 2 years ago, where Alisson is told to play off his line. An Arsenal player got his head on the ball, and it doesn't have to be a great header. It just has to be on target. So I would question the tactics a little bit there, But yeah, other than that, it was just an incredible game in a long line of these Liverpool-Newcastle contests.
Coach, let's get stuck in on the whole game. So interesting lineup. Szoboszlai played right back. I thought he completely shut down Harvey Barnes. I thought, he was kind of playing in the Trent Alexander style when he pinched in when we had the ball into midfield. And it was just the first 25 minutes were very choppy. You would have thought that the teams were kind of reversed from a standpoint that Newcastle was going after one of our players and the stadia and all that. It was just very odd how we were fouling aggressively. 2 yellow cards, 1 to Gravenberch. Okay, he got that one wrong, lost the ball, and Konate as well. But it was just very odd at the beginning, and Newcastle looked dangerous, but out of nowhere, Gravenberch pops up and just kind of snatches a goal out of nowhere. I mean, it was very, very interesting the first 40 minutes.
Yeah, I mean, Newcastle has a lot of pace up front. They may not have Isak there or a player that's a recognised out-and-out goal scorer, but they have pace, and all 3 of those players will chime in with goals here and there. And in fact, they had one very good chance that Anthony Gordon put over the bar. That was the best chance. And then the other ones, there was another chance, but I thought Szoboszlai really got in there, put him off when he was close into goal. So they were causing Liverpool problems. And you're right. I think that Szoboszlai held up extremely well in terms of his defensive play. Now, playing Szoboszlai at right back, the manager did it in pre-season, I think 1 or 2 times. And I'm wondering whether in certain games he will do that, not from a defensive perspective, but more Trent gave us a distribution type quality from the back. And I'm wondering whether he might do that in certain games. I don't think it was ever going to be that kind of game today, because obviously with everything that was going on in the background and the way that the crowd was invested in the match, it was always going to be a case of Liverpool under pressure. And they did foul a lot. Sometimes I felt it was unnecessary, but my guess is that was in kind of the thinking back to the League Cup final, where basically Newcastle outfought, outmuscled, outplayed Liverpool. And so I think that the attitude that the manager probably had them going into the game was compete and compete hard.
Coach, interesting. McAllister wasn't in the starting lineup or even on the team sheet. He, I believe, he's expecting his wife's or girlfriend. I'm not sure. Is expecting his first child, their first child. So he was out for this. So still now we're 2 games in, and we haven't had our strongest lineup in. It was. There was talks that maybe Curtis Jones would play out wide, but I thought for sure it would be Szoboszlai because, like you said, he did play in preseason against Atletico Bilbao, I believe, one of the games he played there. And, yeah, maybe, Coach. Maybe he will use him there from a distribution standpoint. But, I think when we have Connor back healthy and Frimpong are healthy, that might not be the case. But right now Szoboszlai's undroppable. I mean, he's been fantastic. The engine of this guy is incredible. But getting back to the game, so Gravenberch snatches a goal, and then I think the 48th minute, 45 plus 3, is what you talked about with Anthony Gordon. I wasn't sure when you saw it live if it was a red card, but Virgil doesn't kind of roll around. And when he did, I thought maybe an injury. And then, yeah, you're right. I mean, there was cleat marks on Virgil's calf going straight down. So that could have been very dangerous. And however, and then I started thinking about the Darwin game against Newcastle when we were down a man. Mm-hmm. And I was like, I hope this isn't going to happen. Start of the second half, Ekitike scores, great finish, and then all hell breaks loose.
Right. No, Liverpool at that point decided that they were going to control the game, which obviously it's different from the Jurgen Klopp era. I mean, like Jurgen Klopp at times did bring maybe more game management and control into it, but I don't think that they'd have done it under Klopp as early as that. So they were doing pretty well, even though Newcastle were putting them under pressure with their tactics. But then they did get a goal back, and then it became really intense. And sometimes I think that when you're in those kind of games, you've just got to ride it out. You can't put your foot on the ball because the Newcastle players are up, the crowd is roaring them on, and so you've just got to survive. And so that's why, as I say, that I question the second goal, because they had kind of weathered the storm, but at the same time they gave an open door invitation.
Mm-hmm.
And Newcastle took it. So you could only blame yourself for things like that. I thought that was a bad error. But as is so many times the Liverpool case, they just seem to have this ability to score late in the game. And it's always been the Liverpool way, going back to, I think it started in the 70s, and it's been like that ever since.
Yeah, it's part of the DNA of the club, and it's a great characteristic to have, because fighting till the end, everybody says that in theory, right? Fight till the last whistle, fight till the end. But Liverpool really do. Coach, as far as some players, Kirkez and Konate were not good today.
Well, I thought Konate in particular was. There was a couple of times in the first half where he had a little bit of time, and then he was sloppy with his distribution.
What's going on with him?
I don't know, but I know there's all the talk about transfers, but I would definitely prioritize Guéhi over Isak or anybody else. He's been shaky through the preseason, and he's been shaky once we've come into the regular season. So Kirkez is still finding his way. It'll take him time to settle. I wouldn't be surprised if he starts Robertson against Arsenal. I would be tempted to do that. And okay, you can say, well, it kind of disrupts the confidence of Kirkez, but I think you've got to manage the squad through the season. And Arsenal will pose Liverpool some problems. I mean, obviously they've got Saka out, but they've signed Eze, so right. I expect Eze to start, and I think he'll hit the ground running.
And I think Odegaard might be out as well. He hurt his shoulder in that game against Leeds as well. So we'll see what happens there. But Coach, playing down a guy, Newcastle, but it felt like we were playing down a guy for a big majority of the second half when they were, mounting the comeback, so to speak. It's something else, because I remember when, I would have games when somebody got a red card, it would be brutal. And just the way the fans lifted that team and the energy that they provided. I mean, I think Bruno was probably the typical example of how they lifted a team, because he was kind of the epitome of it. He was fired up. He was really getting after it. And it's just amazing how these professionals, being down a guy, somehow can kind of muster the energy and courage and desire to really try to get something out of it.
Yes, I mean, as we've identified already, the crowd's a big factor, but also the manager's tactics. I mean, when you're a man down, you're not going to play pretty football. You're going to go direct. I mean, like, you push two men up front and maybe conceded space in the midfield. And then they just pumped it forward. And it seems like the long throw is back in fashion again.
I have that written down, yeah.
It's not just tonight, but all the games I've seen this season, and I understand Liverpool have been working on it as well, but the long throw is back in vogue for whatever reason. So yeah, I mean, that is how you put a team under pressure. And okay, it may not be the pretty ideal kind of way to play, but sometimes that's what you've got to do, and so credit to Howe and his team that they did that, and they did it very well.
Coach, when we get into these spells where the opposition has momentum and has the crowd behind them, how do you break something like that? How do you get back a hold of a game? Because I thought Curtis Jones did that at moments because he was calm under pressure, but it's how do you do that? It's difficult because they're so into it. Everybody's like really fired up for it. I was just kind of thinking to myself, we're up a guy, but it doesn't look that way. And how do you just get a hold back of the game? Because everybody was just, clearing the ball as soon as they could.
Well, first of all, you've got to slow the game down, and then you've got to take advantage of the fact that you're one man up. And to some degree, Liverpool did do that. But whenever they lost it, then it's kind of route one back, Newcastle, and then it becomes pressure, the last ditch clearance, and so on and so forth. People competing for the ball, and it's just over and over again. And I could be cynical and say, well, okay, Newcastle were a man down, but I think we have to be honest. Mo Salah was pretty invisible today. So, yeah, I mean, it's unfair to say it was 10 against 10, but yeah, he wasn't really a factor tonight. He wasn't a factor. And I mean, looking at the team's pre-game, it was pretty much what I feared in terms of you got three very good physical midfielders for Newcastle.
Oh, looks like we might have lost Coach here for a second. Well, he was talking about the physical defenders, and yeah, they were tough for sure. The Mo Salah thing that Coach was talking about, Mo is, he was invisible again, but he popped up with an assist from a fantasy perspective. I'm sure people are excited about that. And anyway, the game was crazy and wild. We as a team are leaking goals left and right. I don't know what there is about that is causing that. I think that Kirkes is having a rough go right now. We got Konate, who's not playing very well, but it's going to be interesting how they mesh together. And when you look at the new players, it looks like Ekitike is the one that's really kind of hit the ground running. I thought Wirtz was a little bit more lively today, but I think he's the one that is going to take a little bit of time to really get the team and get his legs under him to really start playing well. But it's very, now we got Arsenal next, and by a stroke of good luck, not that I wish ill will on any other team or player, but with Saka out and Odegaard out, yes, they just signed Eze, and he's been training with Crystal Palace, so it's not like he's been out on strike or whatever. He's gonna be fit and ready to play. So Kirkes is gonna have to deal with probably, I don't know, maybe Eze will fill in for Odegaard, and I think it's clear, as Coach said, that we really need to have Gehi in, because Konate, I'm not sure what's going on with him, if he has a little knock that he's carrying, but he doesn't look like the same guy that can burst out of nowhere and close somebody down. Saying that, if two of our defenders aren't playing well, we're going to leak goals. Van Dijk was incredible tonight, clearing balls left and right, but at the end of the day, we need a solidified back line, but also to give Kirkes a little bit of a break here. He did face two tough opponents, with Elanga with his speed and Semenyo with his size. So not necessarily great matchups for Kirkes. But moving on to the Liverpool game, maybe Coach will pop back on here in a second. I'm not sure what happened, but moving on to the Arsenal game, Arsenal looked great against Leeds United, put up 5 goals, scored again on another free kick. Gyökeres got on the board. So we'll see kind of, is this the right time to face Arsenal? Granted, we are at Anfield and we always like our chances at our home stadium, but it's going to, we're not sure what it's going to look like. We're really not sure. So, are they, how are they going to line up? Who's going to play the right? Regardless, although we haven't played great, we do have 6 points, and that is great. So there you are, Coach. So,
yeah,
Coach,
we had an electrical storm here, and the electricity went out for a bit. So,
okay, no problem, no problem, Coach. I was just kind of moving on to the Arsenal game, and maybe right now is the best time to play Arsenal with these injuries to Odegaard and Eze. I was thinking that Eze would probably replace Odegaard, and then who's going to play on the right side? I'm not too sure who they replaced Saka with in that game, but they are a tough team. Gyökeres got off the schneid. He scored 2 goals. The defense is solid, 2 clean sheets. Tough matchup.
Yeah. I'm blanking on the name of the player that they signed from Chelsea. He's a good player. The winger.
Medweke.
Medweke, yeah. So he will likely start. He will likely start in Eze. So I mean, I can't remember who Arsenal played in the. Manchester United. Yeah, they didn't play particularly well that day, but they got a result. And then the West Ham game, they started badly, but once they equalised, there was only one winner then.
Mm-hmm.
So West Ham are a weak team. I think one thing that goes in the favour of Arsenal compared to us is that they aren't so sloppy at the back. And I think that Gyökeres is like Erling Haaland at Manchester City. He's what I would call a compromise signing, in as much as he's maybe not going to fit into the collective play. His job will be close to goal and then look to convert opportunities. So that's what he's going to be about. And it'll probably get a little bit of time. He's not at the same level as Erling Haaland, but I think he's a good striker. I think he'll score at this level. I think the team around him needs to get used to his presence as much as anything. But don't expect him to be involved in the build-up and things like that. His mandate will be to score goals, be in the penalty box, and that'll be his job.
Coach, I was also talking about the defense, and you mentioned Guehi, being a priority, and the last week of the transfer window is going to be pretty exciting. It usually is, outgoings, incomings, just in general, all over Europe. But Guehi for sure is something that needs to push, because Konate, like we talked about briefly, there's something off. And I think with Kirkez, he had 2 very tough opponents. He had Semenyo, who's a big guy, physical guy that Kirkez just can't match up with. And then he had a tough time with Alenga. I mean, not that Alenga was very influential, but in the first half, he got by him a couple times. The reason I mentioned Kirkez was having kind of a rough go was, I mean, even Shar got a ball in across on him when there was a corner kick, and ball kind of splattered all over the place, and Shar got it. And Kirkez was trying to be physical with them, but Shar turned a couple times and crossed the ball over. And I'm not saying that I'm giving up on him. I just want to be clear. He's a proven Premier League player, but there needs to be some improvement there. And I'm just wondering, what needs to happen. Is it the Guehi signing and sitting Konate that needs to happen? And, how quickly can you do that? But what's nice about Guehi, and I mentioned the same thing about Eze, these guys have been playing and they're ready to go from a preseason standpoint. So, there's not going to be a ramp up time. It's not like if Isak signed with Liverpool or even if he stayed at Newcastle, it's going to take a couple of weeks for him to get up and running. So that's what's nice about that. But coaches, Leone was on the bench today. I thought absolutely not this game unless we went up 2 goals. If we scored, say, made it 3-1 with 80 minutes to, 10 minutes to go, then I could kind of see possibly Leone coming in. But other than that, I couldn't see him coming in. But coach, also, there's just this, it's a long season. And at the beginning, we preached patience, right? This is the transition year. So I know I threw a lot at you, coach, but let's start with the defense and then kind of work our way up from there.
So are you talking with regard to the Arsenal game?
Yes.
Yeah, I mean, it'll be interesting to see what he does at right back. I mean, to be honest with you, he's got a few more days with Bradley and Gomez to, to bring up to speed. Curtis Jones, I felt, was invisible in the first half as well. And actually, he should have scored. Because Liverpool had that very good move after they were 1-up. And I think he's a good squad player, but there's maybe just something that's missing when it comes to Curtis Jones. So, the question is, will he bring McAllister back into start? Probably. Now, I know everybody's talking about Szoboszlai dropping out, but I don't think you can drop. I don't think you can drop Szoboszlai.
Yeah, I agree.
Because he was the best player tonight, and he gives so much in the midfield in terms of his pressing. So yeah, I'm not sure what Slot will do at right full back at the weekend. Konate's going to stay there by default. I thought Van Dijk had a good game.
Yeah.
Wouldn't be surprised if he brought in Robertson at left back. Kirkesh, we haven't seen his big strength yet, which is getting forward to attack. And part of the reason is because the teams they've played against have really pushed men onto him and forced him to stay back. And one thing that I get a sense of is his ability to cross and knock a long ball isn't at the same level as Andy Robertson. Now, obviously, there's time for that to develop. So, as I say, I wouldn't be surprised if Robertson comes back into the mix for the weekend. Obviously, Gravenberch will be there. McAllister. Wirtz, obviously, there's the physical side of the game. Although I thought there was at least 2 occasions in the first half where he was fouled, but for some reason the referee didn't give it because the camera went on to Slot and he's giving 2, and actually that's one thing. But obviously with all these challenges, sometimes it goes for you, sometimes it goes against you. I'm sure Newcastle fans. That time in the second half when Konate pushed Harvey Barnes, that was a foul. But anyway, so yeah. So I think McAllister, Gravenberch. I would be tempted to push Szoboszlai into midfield and bring in either Bradley or Gomez at right back. Up front, Ekitike is class.
Yeah.
As we've said before, he's a beanpole, but he's very physical. He's up to the physical challenge of the Premier League. And again, really took his goal well. And Gakpo, I thought he was involved. Salah, as I said earlier, didn't really think he was involved, but he's going to play. And I don't think that Liverpool will sign Isak. I don't think it'll come through in the next week. My gut feeling is that Newcastle will dig their heels in. Is he worth signing for 150 million? I don't think so. He's obviously a top striker. and you'd love to have a player like that in your squad. But he picks up injuries, and so I don't think he's worth 150. I think Liverpool will go in and they'll offer like 130. And then it's up to Newcastle. I mean, like, it's not the amount that they're verbally saying that they want, but it's up to them whether or not they accept it. Because the other side of the coin is, do they really want somebody that's verbalized just how unhappy he is at the club, and the fans are at. I think the fans at this point, I think the majority would probably get rid of him. So that's up to Newcastle, but I don't think it'll go through.
It'll be. Yeah, they had a offer for to Strand Larson to Wolves, I think £50 million, and that was rejected. This game was kind of interesting from that standpoint also, because Joe Linton went out, Shar went out. You're gonna miss now, your striker, so to speak, in Gordon. He's going to be out for 3 games. I mean, some reinforcements might be needed. I don't know if this game is the one also that they're like, we're not selling him before this game. And maybe now with kind of a couple injuries and a guy out with a red card. I mean, I don't know. Maybe the storm is just right for that to happen. But we do, there's been talk about adding another winger, but, can we get by with Rio and Chiesa as our 4th and 5th options?
Well, I'm seeing some of the other Liverpool podcasts, and there's a couple of people are already bent out of shape that if we don't sign Isak, we have to sign somebody else. So I guess the irony of it is, so far in both games, Chiesa and Ngumoha have come off the bench and scored winners.
Right.
So can we count on that consistently through the season? Maybe not. But Liverpool do have options, and I don't think that Liverpool is the kind of club that they just go and sign any old player. I mean, I don't even know if they're looking at any other strikers seriously. They also have Jayden Danns, who I think is a pretty good prospect. So, okay, he's another academy kid. He's 19. But I think he's really talented, and obviously did well under Jurgen Klopp when he played. So if they don't get Isak, and I anticipate that they won't, then up until the January transfer window, then they're just going to have to go with, they've got the 3 starters, they've got Chiesa, they've got Ngumoha, and they could maybe call up Jayden Danns as well. So that's the way it's going to have to be. But as I said earlier, I think the priority is more in defence, where it's either Guéhi, or I believe the other player that they're interested in is Brentford's
Collins.
Yeah, of Brentford. So yeah, I think they've got to bring somebody in.
Out of the 2, coach, which one do you prefer, Guéhi or Collins?
Obviously, Guéhi has more pedigree, but I believe Collins is being eyed by a number of top clubs. So, I can't say that I know him well as a player. I'm not going to make that claim. But obviously, he's ringing a few bells for a few of the top teams. So, I don't know if Brentford would sell him at this point, because they've had other issues with selling players. And I mean, obviously there's Johan Wiese there, which would be ironic if Liverpool went and signed him. But I think from a Newcastle perspective, they've got Strand Larson and they've got Wiese, who they've made offers for, and it's the same situation that that they're putting Liverpool in. So, I mean, like, they can fork out more money, bring them both in, and then probably it wouldn't cost as much as even if Liverpool give them less than what they're looking for. But I guess the ball's in Newcastle's court, and they can do what they want. They can be bloody minded about it, or they can go out, fork out money for those 2 players, and sell Isak to Liverpool. But my gut feeling is it's not going to happen.
Yeah, I had that feeling, like, as of 10 days ago, 2 weeks ago. It just doesn't seem like it's getting any traction. But also, this was a game that I thought maybe could tilt it one way or another. Not the actual result, but just the fact that now this game is behind them, and they can maybe kind of look at it with fresh eyes. Coach, when you're talking about settling in, I also was talking about this when you were had your little technical issue there, your electrical thing. But it seems like Ekitike has found his feet, right? We talked about that. Verts is there. There's flashes, but I think he's the one. You mentioned the physicality of the league, but I think he's the one that we're going to see maybe really come to in 10, 15 games. Do you have that feeling as well?
Yeah. One thing that I see a lot with Verts is that he makes runs, but I don't think that the midfield are kind of tuned in to some of his runs yet. So again, that's going to take, as you say, whether it's 10, 15 games, whatever, because many of his runs were into good space. But I think one thing that was a characteristic of Liverpool, and actually it was the same against Bournemouth, Newcastle did a good job in the first half of pressing Liverpool. But then there were 2 or 3 occasions where they had time in the midfield to play a good quality ball, and yet they gave the ball away. So I don't know if that was because, sometimes when you're under a lot of pressure, maybe you're not quite as calm and collected as you need to be to play the good winning pass. But I think finding Verts in dangerous positions, that's when we'll really see him coming to the fore.
Yeah. Well, I mean, 2 games, 6 points, not hardly easy, but they're 3 points each. What do we, as we kind of look forward and forecast the season? And I know that, this is just an exercise, just to kind of see, where we think this is going to end up at Christmas. Do you? If we continue playing this way, we're going to have a couple losses for sure.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. I mean, the game at the weekend will be interesting because even if, Arsenal have lost 1 key player, maybe 2, but they've got so much more depth. And I see that they're trying to bring in another player today. So their strategy clearly is they've learned from last year where they didn't have enough numbers. And so that is not going to be the case this year because Madueke and Eze are very good replacements to come in. And okay, they're new, so maybe they'll be finding their way. But I think one thing that Arsenal, I mean, I hate to say this, but I forecast them to win the league this year. But the one thing they've got going is their defense. I mean, they're not going to give away as much as Liverpool. Liverpool clearly can score goals. And hopefully they continue to do that. But whilst I thought they did extremely well in the first half defensively, but yet somehow they find ways to give up goals. And so if I think back over time, with Liverpool and other clubs, there are just times when you have a lineup that's like that. I mean, I hate to remind, but in the days of Simon Mignolet and Dejan Lovren, you always knew that even if the 2 had a good game, they would find a way to give up a goal. And it's not quite like that because I thought Alisson was outstanding today. I thought he had a really good game. And I thought Van Dijk had a good game, but as you've rightly pointed out, there's something not right with Konate right now. And Liverpool, will they win at the weekend? I would say that if they can keep a clean sheet, yes, but keep a clean sheet. And so that is the big question mark for me.
Yeah, for me, I want to see just a little bit more fluidity in the passing. And, because when it's right, it's right. The example of, the Rio's goal. I mean, the ball moved nicely. It was well kind of, passed around the right side. It got to Mo. And even though Mo had a, rough game, still finds a way to get an assist and get on the board. But anyway, there's so much to talk about here. I mean, I think we could talk for hours and hours on this, and unfortunately, we don't have that kind of time. But also, we want to just kind of mention a couple more things. Coach, your predictions for the Arsenal game are what? 0-0, 1-1?
I think it'll be a draw. I think most of the games between the two clubs have been draws of late. So I think it'll be a tight game. And 0-0, 1-1. I think that those would be reasonably accurate forecasts, perhaps.
Yeah, I see something like that as well. I would predict. I'm going to predict on camera a 2-1 win to Liverpool, but I'm not too confident in that. And then finally, guys, the fantasy football mini league code is Z8RJEV. It's right across the bottom of the ticker, and we want you to join us. It was a interesting week for me from a game standpoint. Did not do well. My players did not do that great. But regardless of that, we want you to join us, and hopefully we'll see you in there. And please subscribe. We want to hear your thoughts on all this. We've covered a lot of different things today. Coach, anything else that we need to bring up here?
Yeah, I mean, I would love to see in the comments, what other Liverpool fans think about our defensive issues right now. Any creative solutions besides signing players? I mean, because it's possible, that we don't get Gahey either. So if that's the case, then I know some Liverpool fans on fellow podcasts will be blowing their top. But hey, life goes on. You got to cope with it, and I think that's the biggest issue for Liverpool right now.
Absolutely. Well, everybody, we appreciate you as always. We will see you next Sunday, I believe, is the game, right, Coach?
Yep.
And Arsenal, Liverpool at Anfield should be a good one. And we'll see you next time. Take care, everybody.
Bye now.
Coach and I want to take a second to thank everybody for watching on YouTube or whether you're listening via podcast. Please subscribe or follow the show wherever you consume your content. We are looking forward to continuing to bring you the best Liverpool content out there. We'll see you next time.